Every minute, retailers across the U.S. lose over $50,000 to theft. But what happens when one person decides to test just how much they can get away with, over and over again? Meet the shoplifter who hit target not once, not twice, but 35 times, and nearly got away with all of it. Before we begin today's story, please let us know where you are viewing from. Please remember to subscribe if you like this video. This isn't just another petty theft story. This is the tale of a thief so bold, so shockingly consistent, that even seasoned security officers at Target were baffled. How could someone walk into the same store dozens of times, steal merchandise in plain sight, and vanish into the crowd, again and again, without ever being caught? Until one day, the luck ran out. Shoplifting is one of the fastest-growing challenges for retailers today, and the numbers are staggering. In the past year alone, retailers reported nearly $100 billion in losses due to theft. Big box stores like Target, Walmart, and Home Depot are particularly vulnerable. With multiple entrances, sprawling floor plans, and large volumes of shoppers, it's nearly impossible to keep track of every person walking in and out. Most retailers expect a certain amount of shrinkage. It's part of doing business. But when theft becomes systematic, frequent, and coordinated, the financial and emotional toll escalates. Employees begin to feel unsafe, loss prevention teams are stretched thin, and honest customers pay the price in the form of higher costs. It's not just about stolen goods anymore. It's about the erosion of trust, safety, and integrity within these communities. And in one suburban city just outside of Chicago, this issue became personal when one woman, armed with nothing but a tote bag and a devil-may-care attitude, decided to make Target her personal shopping ground, without ever paying a dime. Her name was Camille Harris, a 34-year-old woman with no prior record, no gang affiliations, and no obvious motive beyond sheer audacity. Camille didn't look like a criminal. She wore neat jeans, clean sneakers, and oversized sunglasses. She often strolled into the store with a coffee in hand, blending in seamlessly with the crowd of everyday shoppers. Her method was alarmingly simple. She'd walk through the front doors like any customer, take a red shopping basket, and make a beeline for specific sections: cosmetics, electronics, baby formula, sometimes clothing. She was quick, calculated, and unbothered. She didn't even try to hide the items. In fact, she made it look like she was shopping normally. Then, just as casually, she would head toward the self-checkout area, not to pay, but to use it as a decoy. Camille would stand in line for a moment, check her phone, and then slowly back away toward the entrance. With shocking confidence, she would walk right out of the store, merchandise in tow. Security footage showed her repeating this exact routine more than 35 times over 4 months. It became such a predictable pattern that she even started hitting multiple Target stores in the area on the same day. One morning, she hit the Cicero location at 10 a.m., Oak Park by 1 p.m., and the Evanston store by 4. She always picked locations with large parking lots and easy freeway access. But how did she avoid getting caught? The answer lies in a terrifying loophole: store policy. Most major retailers, including Target, have strict, non-confrontation policies for their employees. This means unless a police officer is present, employees and even security guards are told not to stop suspected shoplifters physically. It's a safety precaution, meant to prevent violence or escalation. Camille knew this. In fact, she was counting on it. According to investigators, Camille had once worked as a part-time retail associate at a different chain, and was familiar with standard loss prevention procedures. She wasn't guessing, she was exploiting. In one instance, a security guard at the Cicero Target followed her to the parking lot but couldn't stop her. Camille allegedly turned around, smiled and said, "You're not allowed to touch me. Isn't that right?" Before driving off. The incident left the guard stunned. Camille had done her homework. But how long could this charade last? That's where the story takes a turn. After the 27th reported theft, one Target store manager decided to take matters into their own hands. His name was Omar Vasquez, and he wasn't new to retail crime. He'd worked at various stores for over 15 years, and had seen shoplifters of every kind. But something about Camille bothered him. It wasn't just the theft, it was the repetition. The arrogance. The sense that she believed she was untouchable. Omar started compiling a detailed log. He gathered timestamps from every incident, descriptions of stolen items, and security footage. He even cross-referenced the license plate from surveillance video, which appeared to match a silver Nissan Altima with tinted windows. That's when he contacted the Organized Retail Crime Task Force, a division of local law enforcement set up specifically to handle repeat offenders like Camille. And the net began to close. On a cool Friday morning in April, Camille walked into the Oak Brook Target wearing a gray hoodie and carrying her signature oversized black tote. The store had already been briefed. Plainclothes officers were positioned near the entrances. Security was watching the cameras live. At 11:17 a.m., Camille entered the electronics aisle. She picked up a portable speaker, a GoPro camera, and 2 sets of AirPods. Then she moved on to the cosmetics section and swiped several high-end makeup items, placing everything neatly into her tote. By 11:31 a.m., she was at the self-checkout kiosk, staring at the screen, pretending to fumble with her phone. A second later, she turned and walked toward the door. As she stepped outside, 2 uniformed officers blocked her path. One asked her, "Ma'am, do you have a receipt for those items?" Camille froze. Then she smiled. "You're making a mistake," she said calmly. But the officers weren't budging. Within seconds, a third officer approached from behind and placed her in handcuffs. As they led her to the police car, Camille didn't shout, didn't struggle. Instead, she looked directly at the nearest security camera and mouthed something. Later, after reviewing the footage, investigators realized what she'd said. "Took you long enough." The arrest sent shockwaves through the local retail community. Camille was charged with 35 counts of felony. Retail theft, each carrying serious jail time. During questioning, she admitted to everything. "I was proving a point," she said. "I wanted to see how long I could do it before anyone did something." Her lack of remorse stunned detectives. This wasn't about desperation or need. It was about power, control, and sheer nerve. Camille Harris became a symbol of both the audacity of modern-day shoplifters and the urgent need for better retail crime prevention. Her story highlighted not only the vulnerabilities in big-box stores like Target, but also the careful line between safety policies and accountability. In the end, she didn't just steal merchandise, she stole peace of mind. What do you think? Was Camille a criminal mastermind, or just exploiting a broken system? Let us know in the comments below. And if you found this story shocking, check out our next video on the most outrageous security footage ever caught in a retail store. Trust us, you won't believe what happens next. After Camille's arrest, news of her crimes spread like wildfire through the local media, social media, and eventually even national news outlets. Serial Target shoplifter busted after 35 thefts, the headlines read. People were stunned, not just by the number of times she had stolen, but by how cool and composed she had remained throughout the entire process. Footage of her arrest circulated online, and in nearly every clip, she appeared calm, collected, and oddly amused. Some viewers even speculated that she had been planning for this kind of attention all along. In the days following her arrest, more details began to emerge about Camille Harris's background. Born and raised in Joliet, Illinois, she was the youngest of 3 children and had been a straight-A student through high school. According to former classmates, Camille had always been sharp, clever, and quiet. She wasn't exactly popular, but she was respected. One former teacher recalled that Camille once won a local essay contest for writing about the illusion of security in modern systems. At the time, it had seemed like an intellectual critique of bureaucracy. In hindsight, it felt eerily prophetic. After high school, Camille had attended a local community college, then bounced around a few part-time jobs in retail, mostly in inventory and customer service. Co-workers described her as unremarkable, punctual, and polite. Nothing about her raised red flags. But behind that ordinary exterior, Camille had apparently been studying, not for a degree, but for a masterclass in retail loopholes. Investigators uncovered dozens of notes and diagrams in her apartment. There were maps of store layouts, handwritten analyses of security camera placements, even mock schedules predicting when loss prevention officers changed shifts. It was clear that Camille hadn't just been stealing, she had been orchestrating a social experiment. "This wasn't about money," said Detective Jenna Morales, who led the investigation. "This was about control." Camille wanted to test the limits of what she could get away with. And she did it with surgical precision. In court, Camille's attorney tried to paint her as a misunderstood individual struggling with mental health issues. But prosecutors weren't convinced. This was not a crime of impulse or need, Assistant State's Attorney Paul Delgado told the court. This was a calculated campaign of theft against multiple businesses and communities. Ms. Harris did not steal bread to feed herself. She stole AirPods, luxury makeup, and electronics, then sold them online for profit. That revelation added a new layer to the story. Authorities discovered that Camille had been using online resale platforms to list the stolen goods. She operated under several aliases and used drop shipping to deliver items to buyers without them ever realizing they were purchasing stolen property. In total, investigators estimated that she had made over $75,000 in profit across 4 months. But perhaps the most chilling detail came from Camille's own journal, discovered on her laptop. In it, she detailed each theft like a case study. She gave them names: the formula grab, GoPro day, slipstream exit. Each entry was meticulously written, with times, escape routes, and even notes about employee behavior. One excerpt read, "Loss prevention employee in blue polo seems new. Avoid Tuesdays. Cameras in aisle 9 inactive between 1:30 to 1:40. Another said, "If confronted, remain calm. They can't touch you. Remember, fear is leverage." Camille even ranked the stores she targeted based on how easy they were to rob. Cicero was listed as a soft target. Oak Park received a B+. Oak Brook, ironically, had the lowest score, an F. Overstaffed, more alert, poor getaway flow. That was the very store where she was eventually arrested. In one entry dated just 2 days before her arrest, she wrote, "They're catching on. Shift gears. Consider rotating out of state. Wisconsin or Indiana." But she never got the chance. Her trial attracted media attention, especially from retail advocates who used her case as a rallying cry for stronger anti-shoplifting measures. Several store managers testified during the proceedings, recounting the emotional toll of dealing with repeat thefts. "It's not just about the money," said one. "It's about feeling powerless. Watching someone walk out the door with $1,000 worth of merchandise and knowing you can't do anything about it, it's demoralizing." Camille, however, showed little emotion throughout the trial. She sat quietly, occasionally jotting down notes, rarely reacting. When asked if she wanted to speak during sentencing, she stood and said only, "I proved my point." The judge was not amused. "This court is not a platform for performance art," Judge Marilyn Easley responded sternly. "You used your intelligence not to contribute to society, but to undermine it. The consequences of your actions ripple beyond these stores. You've damaged trust, safety, and livelihoods." Camille Harris was sentenced to 7 years in prison, with the possibility of parole after 5. She was also ordered to pay restitution to Target and several other businesses she had stolen from. Yet, even after the trial, questions lingered. Why did she do it? Was it about rebellion? Attention? Or was Camille trying to make a statement about society's blind spots? Her sister, LaToya Harris, later spoke to a local reporter, saying, "Camille was always too smart for her own good. She liked pushing boundaries. I think she just got lost in the thrill of it all. She didn't think she'd get caught." Meanwhile, Target and other retailers began ramping up their security protocols. More stores invested in AI-based surveillance, locked up high-theft items, and increased coordination with law enforcement. In a public statement, Target said, "We are relieved that this individual has been brought to justice, and we remain committed to the safety of our team members and guests." But the ripple effects extended further. The story ignited debate across social media. Some called Camille a criminal mastermind. Others labeled her a narcissist. A small but vocal group even romanticized her actions, comparing her to Robin Hood, though she never gave to the poor. She kept the profits. Still, the story struck a nerve. It highlighted how underprepared many retailers are for the scale of organized, repeat theft. It exposed the flaws in policies that prioritize passive observation over active deterrence. And it forced communities to reckon with the uncomfortable truth. Sometimes, the smartest people in the room use their brilliance not to build, but to break. Camille's arrest was not the end of retail theft, but it served as a wake-up call. A reminder that the systems we trust, surveillance, security, deterrence, are only as strong as the people enforcing them. And sometimes, it takes one person exploiting every weakness to force a long overdue change. In the end, the cameras stopped rolling, the trial ended, and Camille faded from the headlines. But the echo of her actions remained. Store managers now brief new hires with her story. Security professionals cite her in training seminars. And somewhere in a data vault, 35 separate security videos sit archived, each one a chapter in the shocking saga of a woman who stole not just from a store, but from the assumption that no one would dare try. And that, perhaps, is the most unsettling part of all.